What's up guys, my name is Ace, and a few days ago, a bunch of the perks were leaked for Modern Warfare 3, and I have been holding off on a video with the hopes that all of the perks would end up getting leaked, and so I didn't want to jump the gun, make a video on just 2 of the tiers of perks, and then the third one comes the day after. But it kind of seems like at this point, that third tier of perks isn't going to be leaking to the public. So I just wanted to talk about the leaked perks that we know about so far, because even just seeing the perk structure can often give you a good indication of what sorts of playstyles are going to be supported really well, and what kind of balancing we're going to be seeing between the different perks. So diving right in, this time around with Modern Warfare 3, we are going to have a bit of a different structure. Instead of having tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for our perks, or basic, bonus, and ultimate like Modern Warfare 2, instead they're categorizing them as gloves, tactical vests, boots, and more based on the official blog post from Call of Duty. And that does seem to line up with the leaks from a little while back. These are quite dated leaks by now, so some things may have changed, but at the time there were 4 slots for these effectively perks. I'm just going to call them perks even though it's technically gear and equipment. So unless things have changed with that, it looks like we are going to be seeing 4 potential tiers of perks. And it is also worth noting, unlike Modern Warfare 2, these perks will be available right from the beginning of the match. The moment you spawn in, all of your perks are active and available. And that's great news. That's one of my least favorite things about Modern Warfare 2. Now, that's the expected structure of the perk system in this game. Now let's get into the leaked perks themselves. At this point, 2 of the different tiers of perks have been leaked, the boots as well as the gloves. All of these leaks are coming from El Baberto on Twitter. I will leave that link down below. But let's dive into the boots section. And the first set of boots was actually confirmed. This is something that Call of Duty has already confirmed officially. These are going to be called covert sneakers, and they allow for silent movement. And the leaked description actually says they eliminate footstep audio. Not reduce it, they eliminate footstep audio. I am a bit surprised to see that they eliminate footstep sounds entirely. Typically with a dead silence style perk, you would see a reduction of like 60% to the footstep audio. But with this leaked description, it says it eliminates footstep audio entirely. Next in the boot section, we have the Stalker boots, which is like the Stalker perk from Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3. And with this, we get increased strafe and aim down sight movement speeds. And I'm really happy to see this as well. Having that ability to strafe effectively in a gunfight is something that you couldn't really do all that well in Modern Warfare 3, with the exception of a small handful of specific builds that you could create. So I actually quite like this as a perk, especially in the same category as the perk that dampens our footsteps, because that's going to be a difficult choice to make in respawn game modes at least. Obviously, depending on how other elements of the game are balanced, like what our default strafe speeds are like, or what the default footstep audio is like. But on paper at least, I like the fact that those are in the same tier. Next, we have tactical pads, and with this one, it increases our slide distance and allows for us to fully aim down sight while sliding. And on top of this, with the description, it says it increases our stance transition speeds and crouched movement speed. So that one seems quite effective for people that want to play really aggressively and slide around a bunch. But then we have ultralight boots, and these increase our movement speed and our swim speed. And on top of this, it reduces noise while swimming. So it looks like swimming is going to be returning to Modern Warfare 3. And outside of the swimming part, this is like the lightweight perk that we've seen in Call of Duties in the past. Next, we have running sneakers, which increase our tac sprint duration, and it also reduces the refresh time. So this is kind of like double time from recent Call of Duty games. However, we don't get that increase to our crouch movement speed. Like I said earlier, that's going to apply to the tactical pads. And then finally, for the leaked boots, we have climbing boots, which increase our climbing and mantling speed. And on top of that, these reduce fall damage. And when you combine all of these together, I'm actually quite liking the looks of a lot of these perks. I think there will be some difficult choices to make here, especially for respawn game modes. Obviously, for something like Search and Destroy, we're likely going to be going with those covert sneakers that eliminate footstep audio. But outside of that, if we're looking into respawn game modes, again, depending on how they handle footstep audio and how loud the default footstep audio is, I could see myself going for several of these other options, especially those Stalker boots. I really like the idea of having those in the game. And so far, I'm liking the looks of this tier of perks. Next up, let's get into the leaked glove perks that we've got in this game. First up, we have assault gloves. And with this, it states that while jumping, accuracy and time to aim down sight is improved. And this potentially gives us some insight into how they're going to handle jump shotting in this game as well. First off, with that aim down sight improvement, it's likely we're going to be seeing that same aim down sight penalty while jump shotting that we have in Modern Warfare 2, and therefore I picture this perk counteracting that and just giving you a standard aim down sight time when jump shotting with this perk available. But on top of this, they do mention that accuracy is going to be improved while using these and jumping. And to me at least, reading between the lines there, it appears they may be nerfing jump shotting even more with Modern Warfare 3 by having it directly impact our accuracy. And if you want to be able to shoot accurately while jump shotting, you'll have to be using this perk. So definitely interesting based on that description. We'll have to wait to see if this actually plays out that way. But it's definitely something I wanted to point out while going through these leaked perks. As for the next set of gloves, these are called the custom gloves, and these increase our weapon swap speed, which is interesting because that's only part of the fast hands perk. It doesn't say that it allows us to reload any faster, just swap weapons faster. Then we've got the scavenger gloves, and with these ones you resupply ammo and throwing knives from dead players. After that, we've got the specialist gloves, and with these we throw equipment further, and it resets the fuse timer on thrown back grenades. Next, our tactical combat gloves will enable reloading while sprinting. And then finally, the marksman gloves will reduce our sway and also our flinch while aiming down sight. And I am curious to see how they handle flinch in this game. I'm going to go in with the assumption that it'll be pretty much identical to Modern Warfare 2, in which case this is basically just like the focus perk from Modern Warfare 2, and I think that's a fine addition. As long as the flinch isn't so high by default that we feel the need to use these marksman gloves, I think this could be handled just fine. And overall, when it comes to my thoughts on the glove tier of perks, they don't really seem to be super powerful overall. I'm curious to see just how effective jump shotting is going to be in this game by default, and whether or not those assault gloves are going to be necessary to jump shot effectively. But outside of that, none of these seem like they're going to have a massive impact on your gameplay experience. And these more so just seem to give you a slight bonus in a particular area, which I'm fine with as long as they're balanced appropriately together, given the mechanics in the game. And with that, those are all of the leaked perks that we just recently found out about, but I did want to also remind you guys, back when we got those leaked images for Modern Warfare 3, these ones are quite dated. Again, I just want to restate that. They may be outdated at this point. There was also one vest perk that was leaked, and this one was called the Gunner Vest, and with this, it allowed you to carry 2 primary weapons, and it would give you maximum ammo on spawn with those weapons, but there was a trade-off with this. You would lose the ability to use grenades while using this vest. And the names of the other vests were also leaked, but we didn't get any descriptions on these whatsoever. And with these, we have Overkill, Grenadier, Infantry, Scout, and Tactical. And based on how that first vest worked, it almost seems like these are going to be a slightly different take on wildcards that allow you to sort of restructure your class setup in general while having trade-offs attached to that. So perhaps we'll see other ones that are going to allow us to carry like an extra lethal, for instance, but in doing so, you sacrifice something else on your class setup, or maybe we'll even see ones that allow us to have more than 5 attachments on our primary weapon, but then it restricts us in some other area. I think this is an interesting opportunity if they do end up handling vests like this. I like the idea of this, but at the end of the day, I am just speculating here based on the one description we have of the vests. And this leaves us with that potential 4th perk option, and I believe this is just going to be called the gear slot. And with this, while we haven't publicly seen the leaks for these at this point, we can probably fill in the blanks for at least several of the perks that we're going to see in this tier, because they're just staple perks that of course we're going to be seeing in a Call of Duty game. And the first one would be the Ghost perk. Hopefully this is going to be the type of Ghost perk that only works while moving. That's just my preference at least, as long as it's reasonably forgiving so you can stop to get a reload without your Ghost perk disabling. Also, Cold-Blooded, this is missing, so it's likely going to fall in this tier slot. Then some kind of a Flak Jacket or EOD, just explosive resistance style perk. That of course has to be in the game, as well as a Tac Mask style perk that's going to be counteracting non-lethal equipment like flashes and stun grenades, for instance. Additionally, I wonder if we're going to be seeing a fast hand style perk. Like I said, with one of those glove perks, we can swap weapons faster, but we don't have a perk that allows us to reload faster, so that may come in the form of a perk, or perhaps they're going to shift that back in the direction of just magazine attachments. We'll have to wait to see on that one. And then finally, another perk that's missing from this leak so far that I'm going to guess is likely in this gear tier of perks is going to be some form of a hardline style perk that allows you to earn streaks a bit more effectively, or something along those lines, something that directly affects your ability to earn kill streaks or score streaks. And assuming all of those are in the same tier of perks, combined with the other tiers of perks that have leaked, I'm actually quite liking the look of this perk structure so far on paper, just looking at the information that we have available to us. Obviously, I can't fully judge this till we get our hands on the game. It may end up being terrible, but as it is so far, I'm not seeing any obvious issues with this perk setup. And I can't say that same thing about many of the previous Call of Duty games we've seen. Even just seeing the perk list before ever playing the game, I could often pick out some pretty glaring issues with that. And so far, this is just looking like a well-structured but fairly basic perk system, and I'm okay with that. I kind of want them to just focus on the fundamentals rather than trying to add a bunch of bells and whistles that could potentially go wrong. And if we just isolate what we're seeing here, I think it's looking pretty good on paper. And with that, I am curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below, just taking a look at this leaked perk system and structure, and what we know about it so far. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is an improvement over Modern Warfare 2? Do you think this is going to be a good perk structure overall? Or are you seeing some obvious issues with this already? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.